Are you thinking about retirement but afraid to take the plunge? Or maybe you're just not sure on how to make the transition? Well, you're certainly not alone. Because retirement isn't just about stopping work, it's a big life transition that goes well beyond planning the finances. In this video, I'm going to step you through some of the key considerations to ensure your transition from work into retirement is smooth and stress-free. From my experience, taking the step from work to retirement involves 5 key considerations. I'll explain each of those, plus I'm also going to share with you some observations made from recent days that puts all of this into perspective, so stick around till the end. Number 1, when to stop working. Retirement doesn't mean never working again, it just means having the freedom to choose. Part-time work, freelance consulting, working in passion projects are a great way to stay mentally engaged and provide you with an extra income. So where do you start? Well, maybe working part-time is a great place, particularly if you're lucky enough to be able to do it in your current place of employment. Scale back to maybe 4 days a week, possibly even 3. Gives you an opportunity to try before you buy if you like. Maybe look at a part-time job within your passion. If you're into DIY, what about working at the hardware store? If you like gardening, maybe the garden or nursery. If you're into golf, maybe at the golf course. Maybe a community group. Maybe even doing something active. I've actually seen people, retirees delivering letterbox drops. If you're not doing that, you can use that newly acquired time, a day or 2 a week, to dedicate that towards your hobbies, towards what you're actually going to be possibly doing in retirement. And that fits nicely into number 2. What are you actually going to do in retirement? Retirement is actually different than what you perceive. It's a big change and a big milestone moment in life. You know, it's up there with getting married, buying a house, having family, all those sort of things. Retirement's right up with those. It gives you the opportunity to visualise what retirement can look like. And I can tell you from my own experiences, it's bloody addictive. Even if you're still a few years away, getting yourself in that headspace is a great way to ensure that you're going to be ready. Number 3, the unexpected. You in your own mind might be thinking, well, I'll just work for another couple of years and in that time I'll start to map out my transition from work into retirement. But what if your employer has other ideas? What if they make you redundant? What if there's a change or a restructuring in the organisation? What if there's a situation where new management get brought in, becomes a bit of a toxic environment, it's not really where you want to be anymore, and all of a sudden you've got to make a choice and you haven't made any plans? I know in the organisation that I last worked for, we were looking to bring in some new management staff, and the instructions I had, because I was helping with the hiring of those staff, was to bring young people in. That's reality these days. I've got a friend of mine who's joined a retirees sort of group, and I'm going to leave some links to all of those in the description box below. But they were just sharing their stories around how they retired and how they transitioned out of work into retirement, and there were some that went straight to plan, there were some that worked those couple of years in the example I gave. The reality is that you may not be able to map out the last few years of your working life, so it is worthy of giving consideration. Plus there's the other big one, what if something changes with your health? Number 4, speak to other retirees. Typically when we're planning for retirement, who do we go to first? Financial planner. And whilst that's a wise step, I'll guarantee you one thing in most cases, particularly at this stage in life, the financial planner is younger than you and they're not retired, are they? So you've got to ask yourself, how do they really know what you and I are thinking? People in your cohort, your peer group who are already retired, that's where you want to be. They understand exactly what you're going through and are going to be your best source of information and act as a reference to help you get there. I'll bet you one thing all fellow retirees will say, and that is I wish they'd taken the step earlier. Of course, speak to your financial advisor or planner because they do play a key role in all of this. Work out how much you've got, work out how much you think you might need, factor in social security to the age pension. You'd be surprised. You may actually have enough. And you know what? Sometimes you just got to take the plunge to say, let's make this work and build a plan around that. Number 5, don't waste your best years. You don't need to be a health expert to know that your 60s are going to be way more active and fulfilling than your 70s. Health-wise, you don't know what's around the corner, so why wait? Take the step sooner rather than later. One more year of work is one less year of retirement. Guys, I hope that's been helpful and given you some food for thought so you can start planning early around your transition out of work and into retirement. I did say I was going to share with you some perspective. The last couple of days I've made some really interesting observations. The other morning when I was out for my morning walk, what did I see? I saw people stressed, on their way to work, in their routine, dropping the kids off. I was waiting to cross the traffic lights, so I could hear the radio where there was a traffic report going, where they're talking about delays and all this sort of stuff. And I thought to myself, God, I'm so glad that is behind me. And just today I saw an elderly gentleman on the bus. He was struggling to get onto the bus, holding onto the rail to get to his seat, shuffling along, etc. And I thought to myself, that's where I'm going to be. And the reality of that is, right now, I'm in the middle. All the daily stress of the routine's behind me. What's ahead? Well, we'll deal with that when we're ahead, but now is the time. So if nothing else, guys, I hope that gives you something to really think about and help you take the step. Bye for now.